Welcome back to Julie's Wreath Boutique. I hope you enjoy this video as much as I did making it for you. We're going to learn how to make all three of these wreaths. Now, we're going to use an 8-inch wreath form for the two flowers to kind of give you a different option when it comes to wreath forms right now. And we're also going to make this almost no-cut ruffle method that I've showed you in the past of a ladybug wreath. This mesh I absolutely adore. I got it from the wreath shop. My link will be in the description box below. So I hope you enjoyed these videos. By the way, I want you to check out my friend Michelle Noble of A Noble Touch because she's making a video with the same mesh as well. So let's get started.
First thing we're going to do today is we are going to work on some flower wreaths, and I'm also going to be using these two 8-inch wreath frames, and we're going to use the smaller wreath frames right now because it is April of 2020 and it's harder to find the 10-inch. So I'm going to be using this to show you how you can make a flower wreath on a smaller frame. We're going to be using this fabulous mesh that I absolutely love. It's cotton faux jute check mesh. I know that's a long name, but the wreath shop does have it. My link is down below, as I've said before, and I just love the look of it. So basically I'm hoping just to use one roll per 8-inch frame. I'm going to show you two different styles fairly quickly, so just kind of follow along with me and we'll get started.
So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut out the plastic mesh that goes in between our 8-inch wire wreath frames. You're just going to cut those out and simply just zip tie them onto your frame. This will be a really easy way to put our center in and put some of our flower petals on, and that's why we do this. And this is 5 count mesh, so that means it's 5 squares per square inch. So
I have my mesh cut and we are ready to put this together. Now, I'm going to show you a technique that I did in my last video. And what we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of the diameter to our wreath because we're going to put it on our wreath frame a little differently. Before I showed you how to make your petal. So you're just going to take your petal, your 10-inch by 10-inch piece of mesh here. We're going to meet in the middle, and I'm just going to gather, and then I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to make my petal. All right, so there's my petal. I'm going to take it where I pinch it at, and I'm going to take a smaller zip tie, and I'm just going to wrap it. And so this is kind of nice because you can just kind of get all your petals ready, like I've done a few here. And then you're going to take a longer zip tie. This is an 8-inch zip tie. And you're going to work that zip tie through the edge of your mesh. And it can be a little tricky. It depends on where you're putting it. Okay, that one went through. All right. So see where I put that? It's really at the base of that petal. So this is going to help us give us a little bit more of a diameter when we're making any of the wreaths. So if you're making it, you need a 10-inch wreath frame. This won't be as big as a 10-inch wreath in diameter, but it will get you closer to it. So I'm going to just forget about these brackets, the cross brackets, and we're going to just focus on the sections. And so what I want to do is I want the bottom of my petal to basically just go a little bit over the last bracket there, okay? And we're going to go under wire 1 or under wire 2 and wire 3. Sorry about that. And we're just going to pull it, okay? So what does this do for us? Well, originally I would have had you just use this bracket, and so it would have moved your petal up a little bit. So you would have lost that much. I don't know if you can see the difference here, but there is a difference. You would have lost that much of, you know, the diameter of your wreath. So this way it helps make your diameter a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 3 in each section, and I will come back. We only need 12 petals per for an 8-inch frame. Okay, so sometimes you got to work it through. So I'm just going to put it on. And that petal is not going anywhere. It's going to be pretty straight by doing this, okay? So I'm going to put one more. And then I'm just going to do all the way around. Okay, so I have all of the petals on the outside. And as you can see, it's much larger than it normally would be. You're looking at about a 22 to 23 inch in diameter wreath, which makes it a very close to what a 10-inch would be frame. So the second step we're going to do is something similar that I've always done. We're going to work on bar 3. So bar 1, 2, and 3. We're going to put, again, we're just going to stagger 3 petals in that section. We're going to make our petals the exact same way. And just lay it right in that section. So I want 3 petals per section, and I'm going to go all the way around the frame, and I'll be right back. Okay, so now we've done the second. So let's go over the petal placements. We've done 12, 12, and then we're going to do the middle, and we're going to probably just use 6. We might use 7, but I already put my petals together just because I wanted to make sure I knew exactly how many to tell you. You're just going to take your zip tie, go through the mesh a little bit here, and about, probably I would say 3/4 of an inch from that last bar there. And you're just going to place your petals right there. Now you don't have to have them ready made like I did right here, but I'm just going to keep putting these on, and then we're going to put our star in the middle. Okay, so now for this particular wreath, I'm going to use a pre-existing star that I've already made. I'm going to link the video down below where I show you how to put the wire in. This was a long time ago that I did this, and I used pipe cleaners. I wouldn't really recommend pipe cleaners because everything is so tight down here. It's a little bit more hard or more difficult. I should use the right proper grammar, Julie. But it will be a little difficult to do with these pipe cleaners. So I would recommend using wires, and really one wire is all you're going to need. So I'm just going to have to go through here in a certain way just so that I can't go really through the mesh. I'm going to just have to find some spots here, and I will be right back and show you how it looks. Okay, so I was able to get the star on, and again, I would recommend wire, not the pipe cleaners that I previously had on the star, but this is the only black star I had ready to put on this wreath, so I wanted to make sure that I used it. This is 1 roll of mesh, 8-inch frame. So now let's get started on the second flower wreath with a different petal technique on an 8-inch. Okay, so I want to kind of go over the second part of the next wreath. This mesh measures out at like 10.5 inches long. So even though we did 10-inch pieces for our previous wreath, because of that petal would be just fine, I am going to cut these petals at 10.5 inches because we want more of a perfect square for this petal. This is the Dean Michael petal, and I will link her original video in the description box below. So I'm just going to cut out all of this mesh. I'm pretty sure we're going to use a full roll for this one as well, and we will be right back. So flower number 2, again, these are petals I've taught you before, but we're just going to use it really quickly on an 8-inch frame. That is this, and the plastic grid is already in there. So I did cut these at 10.5 inches because this is technically a 10.5-inch roll, so I want more of a square. So I just am going to take and make a triangle, and then I'm going to gather at the bottom. And then I'm going to take my bottom here and take a zip tie and secure it. Now, this is a different kind of mesh. This is not your typical deco mesh. It's not your typical poly burlap, okay? So you're just going to kind of work with the petal to get where you want it. Now, because I cut this with a rotary cutter, you might have some frays. It's okay. I really find it's not that big of a deal. And when I'm done with these wreaths, I will spray them with Rust-Oleum Clear Matte Spray. So all we're going to do is we are going to take these petals and we're going to put 3 on bar 2, okay? So 3 per section on bar 2, and I'm just going to simply attach. Get another one out. And I'm going to just attach. I'm going to make sure that they're overlapping just a bit. And I'm just going to keep doing this until I've done it all the way through, and I'll be back. Okay, so we have the first row on. We did 12 petals on the first row. So the second row, we're only going to use 8 petals because we're only going to put 1 on each of those cross brackets and then 1 in between. So I'm going to start here, and I am going to go, let me just show you here. I am going to go in between on bar 3, that cross bracket. So if you see there, that's where I'm at, okay? So we're gonna put 1 on each of those cross brackets because there's 4 cross brackets. And then we will go and put on bar 3, 1 more petal in between. So if I do 2 here, and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so there's a bar, there's a bar. Those are those cross bars. And then I'm going to take a zip tie and go in between these 2. So I'm going to move this back, and it's on bar 2 right there. And I want it to kind of be as in between as possible. Okay, so we can kind of distance these out the right way. So I'm just going to keep doing this, and I will be right back. Okay, so far we have 12, 8, and now we're going to put 4. So 1 row will do plenty to make this really cute kind of a daisy petal type of technique here. So what we're going to do is we're just going to find a spot where it's good to go. So I'm going to just kind of put my zip tie in there. And this is going to get a little cramped, and that's okay. You're not going to see it once we put that center in. So we're just going to put that in. And then now I'm going to put 1 here. You got to just shape your petals a little bit with this mesh. Okay, so I like that where that's laying. So I'm going to put 1 there. We're going to put 1 here and 1 here. So I will be right back.
So for this, we're going to take a 3-inch in diameter styrofoam ball. I cut it in half. I use Gorilla hot glue. And I'm going to just gently and easily, it takes a lot longer than in this video, but you're just going to wrap around that sphere this braided rope. And then I'm going to leave you the link how to watch the whole video so that you can kind of learn on a slower pace.
So all you're going to do is take your center and just put it right in the middle there. You're just going to pull it pretty good there and just tighten it up. Clip your ends off and just put them into this mesh here, this canvas mesh that we put in. And there you go. You got a really cute flower. So now you have 2 different flowers you can make with this mesh. It only takes 1 roll, an 8-inch wreath form, and you're good to go. Now, if you want to use an 8-inch wreath form maybe that you got from Hobby Lobby, you would just still need to use the same amount of petals, but just make sure you distance them out correctly so that everything is balanced, okay? So let's get on to the next project. Okay, so now this is a different wreath we're going to do. We're going to do a ruffle wreath where we're not going to cut the mesh, but we are going to run it through this Dollar Tree wreath frame. I have a video where I show you exactly how to do this method. I will link it below if you want a more detailed video, but this one I'm going to kind of move right along. And so basically what you're going to do is you're going to take your mesh, and I'm going to take, we're going to work on bar 2 or bar 3 and bar 2. So what I'm going to do is I've showed you how to do this with 6-inch burlap. So we're just going to do it with this 10.5-inch mesh. So what I do is I take a little zip tie, and I'm just going to zip tie it here to kind of get our start going. So we went up both sides here of this bar frame. And so all you're going to do is you're just going to keep bringing it up, and it'll just naturally ruffle for you. So you're gonna just keep doing it until you like, you know, the results. I think that's cute. So I'm gonna skip over this bar and I'm gonna do this section and I'm just going to pull it up. And I'm just gonna keep doing the same method until I get all the way over. And it really is kind of up to you what, how much ruffle you want. Okay, so I'm just gonna keep going and I'll be back in a moment to show you how to do the outer edge. Okay, so as you can see, I've gone around the wreath and we have gotten to the part where that's the end. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna skip down to the next section and I'm just gonna start pulling it through bar 2, and it will be pulled through on the side that already has mesh, but that's okay. And I'm just going to keep going around my wreath until I meet the end here. And I might have to break into my second roll of mesh, and that's okay too. So for the Dollar Tree wreath frame, I was able to do this whole method with one roll, but I'm going to get into a second roll to add just a little bit more ruffles. But if you wanted to leave it at this, you could be done. So if you only wanted to do one roll. So I'm at the end, so I'm just going to keep pulling through. I trimmed up the edge here, so I'm just going to pull through here. And pretty much you're done. You don't have to add another zip tie. You can if you want, but by this time, this is in pretty good. So the one thing I want to show you though, is that if you flip it over, okay, you're going to have some spots like this that are kind of like puffing out. So that's where you're just going to go through here and you're just going to push them through. That is an easy DIY no cut ruffle technique with a 10.5 inch mesh. You could use 10 inch mesh as well. And I don't know that I would recommend poly burlap because poly burlap does get caught on the frame because I've tried it. It doesn't work quite as well, but let me know if you try it in the comments below. But this is one of the reasons why I like this mesh. This is why you need to go use my link at the Wreath shop and get some of it while she has it in stock. And they do make it in like a red and black and some other colors as well. So I'll be right back and we'll go to the next step. Okay, so now we're gonna make some of these little bundles that I like to put in the wreath. And we're gonna make 6 of them because there are 6 bar sections. And so I'm going to cut 6 pieces of the second roll of mesh at 16 inches long. So just cut them at 16 inches. You're going to put the curl sides up. I'm going to just roll this in just a slight little bit there, and then I'm going to start gathering. I'm going to roll this side in just to kind of hide the cut edge, and then voila, we've got a little ruffle thing going on here. I'm just going to take you could take a pipe cleaner if you want, but I'm just going to take a little zip tie and secure it this way. So the next thing I'm going to do, and it's really simple to do, is I'm going to take the ribbons that I got from the Wreath shop. I think these are super, super cute. Again, you can find them all at the Wreath shop. I even have some more. I have some buffalo plaid, some polka dots, and then some red. But I'm kind of drawn to these 3. So for this part of the wreath, we're going to use these 3. So I just cut them at 11 inches long, and then you're just going to cut an angle, and it doesn't have to be any which way. You could dovetail it if you want. Just have some fun, be creative. Oops. And then we're going to just gather these 3 together, and we are going to put it on that curl. So I'm just going to layer them kind of like an X and then add another one. And then I'm just going to take my piece of mesh and I'm just going to zip tie it to the piece of mesh. And so I'm going to make 6 of these, and then we're just going to attach it to the bars. Let me just show you really quick how we're going to do that. Okay, so with this wreath frame, not frame, you have your cross brackets, okay? So that's where we went underneath and we started our whole other part of the ruffle. So what you're gonna do is I'm just gonna take a zip tie. You could do pipe cleaners, and I'm just gonna stick this in here and attach it. And that's pretty much it. There's not a whole lot of fuss or muss to it, but that's what I'm gonna do because we have a sign. We have a really cute sign here that we're gonna use. And I really like to see my mesh. I want people to see this is such a pretty mesh. I don't want to cover this too much, and so we're going to do our best not to do that. But what that little ruffle does, it just kind of fills that gap that the cross bracket makes. So I'm going to make 4 more of these, and I'm just going to put them in the sections, and then we'll start on our next phase of this wreath. Okay, so we're going to put this really cute little sign, but I don't want the jute on it. Again, I got the sign from the wreath shop, so cute as a bug. I also think that this wreath would be really cute with like a bumblebee theme, as well as you could use watermelon, cherries, lemons, anything that would go with a black and white theme would be really cute for this wreath and this mesh. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to just cut off the rope. And I'm going to take my glue gun here, and this is a Sure Bonder. It's a cordless, and I have Gorilla Glue Sticks in here. And so we're going to take 2 pieces of wire. I'm going to lay them like so. And then I'm just going to take a piece of felt and run some glue on the back of this. Now this glue is going to really hold this really well. So I'm going to do that side, and then I want to do one on this side. Okay, so now we're going to make 2 bows, and I already have one of them made, and I'm going to show you how I quickly made this by hand. You're going to need some zip ties. I know, Julie, why are you using zip ties for a bow? But you know what? Whatever works for you is what you need to do. And for me, I'm going to use these zip ties to kind of hold my work in place here, because I'm not going to use a bow maker right now, because I want to show you how you can do it by hand. But if I was to recommend a bow maker, Pro Bow the Hand is my bow maker of choice. So we're going to start with this really cute black and white polka dots. So what I want to do is I want to make sure I have a tail of about 8 inches. We're not going to use obviously that big of a tail, but I'm going to gather it at one end, and I've showed you this in a previous video. I'm going to make a 4-inch loop, so I need to measure it at 8 inches. So that's 8 inches, and so I'm going to just pinch, and that gives me a 4-inch loop. So now I'm going to measure another 8 inches, and I come back to the center, and then I'm going to measure another 8 inches, and we're going to do 6 loops all together. So, and then this way it gives us a nice loop, and you're just going to keep coming back and forth, and you're going to twist your ribbon at the center there. Okay, make sure I twist it. And so I'm going to now give myself an 8-inch tail. So I'm going to get my scissors and just cut that. All right, so that's the base of our bow. I'm just going to take a zip tie, and I'm just going to zip tie that together while I make the second part of our bow. Okay, so now I'm going to use this really cute red, black, and white. And again, you're just going to do the same exact thing. 8-inch tail, and we want 4-inch loops, so that means 8-inch measure and make a loop, measure 8 inches again, make a loop, and we're going to do this 3 times for 3 loops on each side. Just pinch it, bring it back to the middle, pinch it. Okay. And I just really like this ribbon. I feel like when you order ribbon online, it's just better quality. It just is. Okay, there we go. All right, Now we're going to make a tail. Again, we're not going to use that long of a tail. So I'm going to take this, get this black bow, put it on top of it, and take a zip tie and zip tie it to the black bow. So now we're going to add this really cute ladybug. So now we're just going to make another tail to that. And I want these loops to be 3-inch loops. So we double that up and we measure 6 inches, okay? So we do 1 loop, measure 6 inches again, and we come back to the middle, okay? You're going to measure 6 inches again, gather, come back to the middle, and I'm only going to do 2, okay? 2 loops on each side. I'm going to cut an end here, and again I'm going to do exactly what I just did before. I'm just going to lay this on top and put another zip tie right on top there. And at this point I'm going to just take a piece of wire right here, and I'm just going to, and you could at this point cut some of these zip ties off if you don't want them, but really it doesn't matter. So I'm just going to take the wire and go through whatever zip tie it'll let me go through. All right. And you could do a Chanel stem with this, or pipe cleaner, whatever you like to call it. And you're just going to play with your loops. And we need to cut our tails, and we'll put our bow on our wreath. And then I just cut them together. There you go. Oops, that one didn't cut very good. All right, so now you've got 2 really cute bows. Okay, so before we put our bow on, we are going to put our sign on, and as you can see, this is all dry. So what I want to do is I want to just kind of put this through the middle of my wreath here, and I'm going to just kind of eyeball this, and I want to make sure that it goes in separate places so that this side can't kind of sag down or anything like that. So I'm just going to go through here. Okay, so I've got it where I want it. I want to make sure that everything looks good. So I'm just going to take it and I'm just going to twist it really good on this side. I'm going to go underneath the frame, and I'm just going to make sure that it is really well secured. Make sure that this wire can't come through. I'm going to cut it, and then you're going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so now that we've got our sign on, you're just going to want to go through, and like I've got a few edges there, I want to clip those. And now we're going to put our 2 bows, and what I was thinking is a bow here and a bow here would be really cute, so that's why I made 2. If you wanted to just make 1 big bow, that would work too. It's really a preference. So I'm just going to put it down here. I'm not going to glue it to the side. I'm just going to put it through the mesh at an angle. I'm going to go through the wreath mesh. And I might need to trim these little tails just a little bit. So you're just going to twist it just a little bit, and then I'm going to just run. I'm not pulling the bow too tight, okay? And I'm just going to wrap it around the wreath frame here and call it a day on this bow. Okay, so we don't want the wire to poke through. Okay, so now we're going to put a bow here, and I'll be right back and we will talk about what we used. I hope you enjoyed this like trilogy of wreaths today. I love this mesh so much that I just figured I wanted to show you more than just one wreath. And these are techniques that I've showed you before, maybe a little bit of a new bow here or there. But I wanted just to make sure that you got to see the full effect of how versatile this mesh is. You can get it at the wreath shop right now. Check the description box below. That's where the link is for it. Make sure you're searching for cotton, faux, jute, check mesh, and they do come in different colors. And I hope you enjoyed this video. My friend Michelle of A Noble Touch is making a wreath, and it should be out soon, so go check her channel out. I'll leave her link below. And she's using the same mesh in a design to show you how to use it as well. So watch a bunch of tutorials, learn something new, order some really cute mesh and some cute signs. I also have some of this, and I think that this would have looked really cute as well, but I just opted to go with the ladybug theme, and I just think it's super cute. So if you haven't joined Wreath Creators and More, make sure you join. The link is down below. If you've made it this far in the video, and I know it's a long one, leave me a ladybug or some sort of touch of summer emoji, okay? And make sure you follow me on Instagram. We're almost to 10,000 followers, and when we hit 10,000 followers on Instagram, I'm doing a giveaway. So make sure you follow me there. And we will see you next time in Julie's Wreath Boutique.